Hey, what's up everybody, this is Marcus from the Weekly Spot, back again with another video, and today I wanted to give my thoughts on the solo Clayface movie that's going to be part of the DC Cinematic Universe. So the article that I'm going to be reading from is from Deadline, so let's get right to it. DC Studios' Clayface being written by Mike Flanagan. So from the headline, it's confirmed on who the writer is going to be, and reading the rest of the article, it says that Clayface is officially joining the new DC Universe more than a year after Mike Flanagan pitched his take on the shape-shifting supervillain. Mike Flanagan, by the way, is also a director, editor, and producer, and he's done quite a bit of projects, but to name a few, there is the Haunting of Hill House, Midnight Mass, and Dr. Sleep. But going back to the article, Deadline has confirmed that Flanagan has been tapped to write the script for DC Studios amid his work on the upcoming Exorcist reboot. We understand the studio is still searching for a director. Flanagan has expressed his interest in making a standalone Clayface movie, writing on Twitter in 2021 that he wants to approach the film as a horror/thriller/tragedy. In March 2023, our sources told us that Flanagan's take on Clayface will not feature the character as a villain after the writer had a meeting with DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran, who took over at DC Studios in 2022. Although Flanagan wasn't pitching the character to be part of Matt Reeves' DC Elseworld, other sources have said that Clayface is a big addition to Reeves' The Batman 2. But we did later get an update from James Gunn when there was a post from Everything DCU when it said that Clayface and Scarecrow will be in Batman Part 2. And someone did ask if that was true or not, and James Gunn did answer with it, and I quote, "Firstly, no. Secondly, couldn't be the case as there hasn't yet been a first draft of a script." So I guess that marks them off the list as possible villains for a Batman 2. But to read the whole post, it says Clayface and the Scarecrow will be big additions to the Batman Part 2. Clayface will apparently be Matt Hagen, going for more realistic Darkman vibes. Now I'm not gonna lie, even though I want to see more of Batman's fantastical side, that would be cool to see. But anyways, Clayface got his DC introduction as part of Detective Comics issue 40 in June of 1940. While there would eventually be a number of shape-shifting DC using that alias, the original Clayface was a moderately successful actor who adopted the identity of a character he portrayed in a horror pick after turning to crime. He's a frequent adversary of Batman with a body seemingly made out of clay who has appeared over the years in numerous films, television series, animated works, video games, and other forms of media, being portrayed on the series Gotham and Pennyworth by Brian McManaman and Laurie Burrows respectively. The rationale behind Clayface's appearance emerged in comics of the 1970s, which involved the character into a scientist with hormonal irregularities. And that's the end of the article right there. Now for me, Clayface, I wouldn't say he's my favorite villain, but I do like the character. My first introduction to him was Batman the Animated Series. So I'm on board with a Clayface solo movie, and going back to the part of the article where it said that Flanagan, he wants to approach the film as a horror/thriller/tragedy, and then saying that his take on Clayface will not feature the character as a villain. And his story in the Batman the Animated Series, by the way, he was an actor who got into an accident that disfigured his face, and though he's still working in the movie business, it just hasn't been the same since his accident. But eventually he meets this guy who's like this corrupt businessman named Roland Daggett, who gave him this face cream that was developed by his laboratories that not only fixed his face but is able to change his face to another person. But the effects were temporary and he started to become addicted to it. So he then started to do jobs in exchange for more of that face cream. But because of a job that went wrong, Roland's like, okay, we gotta get rid of this guy. But his boys are like, well, how are we gonna find him if he's able to change his face? So Roland's plan was to lower his supply, so eventually he'll come to them. Like, he doesn't have to look for him. And that's exactly what happened. He broke into his lab. He got caught by his guys, and they poured a huge amount of that face cream on him, and because it was too much, instead of killing him, it actually changed his body. And that's his story of how he became Clayface. So like, if this movie is any similar to his origin story in the animated series, I think I think this could work because he is portrayed as a tragic character. Plus, he's a terrifying looking character with the ability to shapeshift. So, you know, that does go along with the horror, you know, thriller and the tragedy approach that he wants to take with the character. And I'm wondering which version are they going to use, because there's like 8 in the comics, and the Batman the Anime Series version supposedly took elements from 3 versions of the character. The first one was Basil Carlo. He's the first incarnation who was just a regular guy, an actor turned serial killer who does eventually get power similar to the other incarnations. The second one was Matt Hagen, who was a treasure hunter, and by the way, that's also the name that the character goes by in the Batman the Anime Series. And the third one was Preston Payne. And this guy worked at Star Labs, who was suffering from a condition called hyperpituitarism, which is a condition that occurs when the pituitary gland doesn't produce enough hormones. And Preston thought that using Matt Hagen's blood was going to cure his condition, but it ended up turning him into Clayface. So is it going to be one version? Is it going to be a combination, or are they going to do an original character? Which, by the way, they have done that before with another animated series called The Batman. And in that show, they introduced a character named Ethan Bennett, who before he was Clayface, he was a cop, and he was actually Batman's best friend. But who knows what they're going to do? I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see. As of right now, we don't have any more information about this movie, as far as I know. Right now, we don't know who the director is. We don't know who's going to play Clayface. We don't know anyone else that's involved in this project. But the fact that Mike Flanagan, who is known for doing horror, is going to be the writer, it does make the movie, you know, a little promising. Like, I am interested to see how they're going to handle this. But let me know what you think. Like what are your thoughts on the Clayface having a solo movie? This is Marcus from the Weekly Spot. More content will be coming out soon, but until then, take care, everyone.